Hello, welcome to another video, today we're going to be doing a little video because I'm having a few problems with one of my Miele's, and I'm just going to show you what the problem is. It's something I noticed the other day when I came to use it, and it seems to be a problem that arises on not just the S8, because I've seen this happening on the S5 series as well, where the bag full indicator seems to get jammed either in the fully across position, so it looks like the bag's full all the time, or as this one's case is, it seems to be stuck halfway. So as we cover the end of the hose up or simulate a bag full, this goes all the way across to the fully red position, but when you take the pressure off it, like it is now when it's switched off, it doesn't return back, so that goes black again. So what I'm thinking is that there might be a stickingness in the mechanism. So today I'm just going to have a sort of investigatory look as to see how we can repair or fix this without having the need for a new indicator. Now, I haven't rehearsed this or anything. I haven't ever taken one of these bag full indicators out, but there is a video on YouTube by user Performance Reviews. His name's Alex, and he runs a vacuum repair shop in Denver in America, and he actually showed me, well, he showed on one of his videos how to pull one of these indicators out. Not for this issue though, but it gave me a rough idea of how we can get one of these to pieces. So today I'm going to be having a quick look to see what the issue is with this. So first of all, I'm going to remove the hose and remove the hood, and we'll try and get this to pieces. So obviously it's not going to be a full strip down, it's basically taking the lid to pieces to see if we can get access to this bag full indicator. This model is the S8730. It's quite an old Miele now, but they still make this basic shape as the C3 Complete, what most people would know it as. So if anybody else has got issues with their bag full indicator not working properly, it might just be a simple fix. So we're now going to find out and see if we can fix it. So let's take the hose off first and the accessories, and then we can get started. So yeah, I mean, this machine was bought by myself in 2013, I think it was. It was sort of an end-of-line model from Miele. It's quite a rare model, this one is. But the same basic bag full indicator is used across the entire of the C3 range. It doesn't have an electronic one, it's like a mechanical operated one on a spring. So I'm just going to put the towel down now so we can... It's what I always use to put my vacuums on when I'm going to work on them. First of all then, I have got a video out showing how to fully strip one of these C3 machines down, so if you wanted to know that, that's on my channel. But what we're going to do with this one is to, first of all, we're going to take the lid off using the same method that I used on the other videos, by getting the screwdriver down here and levering the lid up, and then you can remove it very, very simply, just like that. And we'll put the rest of this to one side. So let's just angle this down. Right down. Okay. So what we've got is we've got 4 Torx T20 screws. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 in that position there. We can see those quite well on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to remove all of those screws now using the T20. So yeah, if you're not already subscribed to Performance Reviews, go and check his channel out, because he does a lot of strip downs of machines, especially Miele's. I mean, that's their speciality. But he does all kinds of machines. Right, now what he did on his one was to whack it with a mallet, this part here, but I'm just going to knock it with my hand. And that's supposed to, yes it does, it knocks it all the way out. And it's also made this spring back as well, look. So it shows it was a sticking mechanism, so we're going to have a look at that now and see if I can to lubricate that. Right, so we're just going to be lifting. Okay, so that. Ah, right, yes. Now what this has, because it's got the automatic setting in, it's got like a little pipe. Yeah, because this one's the 8730 and it has the automatic suction regulator on. What it has is there's a tiny little pipe that runs through here, like a pressure pipe, and that pipe runs to there and in through here. And what that does, that tells the board how much back pressure is in the housing. Now, on most Mieles, in fact, anything that's not the 8730 would not have that pipe running through here. If it was a powerhead model, there'd be an electrical cable connector running through here. But on this, it hasn't got it because it isn't a powerhead model. Right, so what we're going to do, so obviously once you've got this removed, the door will not stay closed because obviously that contains the mechanism just here in that button for holding the door down. So don't worry unduly if then suddenly you find that that door won't stay closed. So what Alex did was to remove this part here as well, so I'm just going to have to see how we can pop that off. Yeah, that just pops straight off like so, revealing the button push, and I'm assuming right, okay, well we'll sort that out when it comes to putting it back on. Yeah, it is on a spring, yeah, I can see that now. And then we can see the bag full indicator underneath. Now, for some reason that wasn't, it was getting stuck halfway across and not returning. So what I'm going to try and do is to have a check of the spring inside there, and I'm going to put some lubrication as well, a little bit of grease on the runners here so that it's able to spring backwards and forwards more easily, because we can see there it seems to be working okay, but obviously when it's in the machine it's going across and sticking there, not pushing itself all the way back. So apparently you can just lift this out. Yes, that's right, you can put your finger on the end here and pull this part, and that lifts out. This is basically, this funny contraption is the bag full indicator on the C3 or the S8. It's quite an unusual looking affair, isn't it? They don't normally look like this. It's quite surprising really. There's your little spring inside, and I think the tension of this spring depends on how sensitive the bag full indicator is. So I can't see any kind of issue with that spring, it all looks okay. And the rubber, what do they call that now? It's like a, oh I don't know, a little rubber boot sort of thing that springs in and out. So that doesn't appear to be the issue on here. I suspect that as this is 5 years old now, that it's got a little bit sticky on the runners here, and maybe a little bit of grease or a little bit of oil on that runner, which is what I'm going to do, might help it to run a little bit smoother. What we can notice is there's a tiny little rough part here in the plastic, and that may be what it's sticking on. So I'm going to put the spring back in because I don't think there's any need to be stretching or deforming that spring. I think that's working as it should. Okay, so I'm going to put the spring back in there and then close it back up again. And then this little tab is supposed to go through that little hole in the bottom there. So we're going to put that back in. But before I do that, I'm going to just put a small amount of oil on the side of here, which I think this part here, or possibly that part there, is rubbing too much on the bottom of this plastic here. I could be totally wrong on there, but Alex did suggest that you could lubricate the little runner for this, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my oil can out. if I can find it. So here we have the little oil can, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put, this is basically light machine oil in here, or 3-in-1, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to put a little tiny dab on the side of here, and also on the bottom. Now obviously we don't want to go crazy on this because it's just going to make a mess. So I've put some on there. I'm going to also put some in the little runner at the bottom here. And also along here. And all along the side as well. So obviously we don't need it any further along than where this little line ends, because that's the extent of the travel of that little red bar. Okay, let's put it all back in together now. Yeah, that seems to be. Put that back in its runner. And then put the rubber part in there as well. And it sometimes pops out because it's the first time I've actually done this. That's better. We have to make sure that the little plastic tab here goes through that little tiny hole. And then above there is another tiny little hole, and I suspect that that's where the vacuum is drawn through that hole there that operates the gauge. I think it is, anyway it looks like, possibly. Well, either way, that's what Alex suggested we do, is to just literally to oil this now so that it slides nice and smoothly backwards and forwards along here, which it now is. So what it's basically doing is, as the pressure in the bag housing, the vacuum, sorry, starts to build up, because obviously if the bag is full, then you'll get the vacuum will start building up in the bag housing. And you won't be able to get any suction through, and obviously then it pulls this bar all the way across to fill the little window up and tell you that the bag's full, or that there's an obstruction to the suction. Right, so now what I need to do is to put this cover back on it. So if I put that back into there, this is basically the button that operates the tool storage hatch, and then it just basically snaps back down into there, and then we can make sure then that this pulls its way backwards and forwards. It's a very, very strange way of doing it like that. Okay, so that's basically it. Now we're going to have to put it back together and see if the machine actually it works it properly now. So I'm going to have to put it back into here. So that basically pushes back in exactly the same way as it came out. I think that's supposed to go into there, that's correct. And then we test also that your button then works to open the flap, which it does. And then we can put the screws back in. and obviously it's gone across now and it isn't showing there, but we're going to fully test it in a minute. So let's put the screws back. Again, you're just checking that that's working. Now we get the tools that go back in the lid again, which all fell out. Just give it a little clean there, because I just seem to have got a little bit of oil on the top. There we go. They're beautiful machines, these. They're my favourite Miele canisters, the C3. I'm going to call it the C3, but this is actually the S8, which is what it used to be called before 2014, when the EU regulations came in, and that's to lower the wattage on these. This is the 2200 watt version. Okay, let's get the machine back over here. Okay, reposition the camera up. What I'm going to do is to put the lid back on its runners, which should be just a very, very simple case of locate them into their little holes in the back and then drop it down. Now, with this machine, I need to have the handle to be able to turn it on to see if we can check this. So I'll need to put the hose back in. And we'll plug it in. Right, we're on standby now, so I'm just going to switch it on. Unfortunately, that has not sorted the problem out, because it's still stuck across. Look, if we turn it on again, it goes across, but then when it comes back, it only comes back halfway. So I'm not quite sure how to sort that problem out, because well, we'll leave it at that for now, and I'm going to have to try and make another video when I can sort out what the problem is.